We use a mixed method approach to do this study, which included looking at a literature review, and thankfully there's a lot of information available. We looked at data from government agencies, NGOs, the media, local international agencies, but we also did some primary research. Interviews with non-for-tip ministries, departments, and agencies. We interviewed 17 faith-based organizational reps, we did focus groups, interviews with 55 sex workers and 20 men who have sex with men. Second slide shows us that the big problem we have in our hands is child trafficking. When we look at the Office of Children's Registry, we see 1,000% increase between 2013 and 24. It moved from 5 to 55, and I want to signal that because it spans 85% of our parishes, that's island-wide. The main type of trafficking was for sexual exploitation, and again, as our previous presenters have said, girls are particularly at risk. Those under 18, 88% of them, particularly the 13 to 17 age group. Guess what? The peak period, when you look at the statistics, is between July and October, with August, which are the holiday months, when you have most cases reported. We recognize also that we have missing children. We had 1984, and although 1776 or 89% of them were returned, we still have 201 that we cannot account for, and each child is precious. The third slide showed us that, again, as expected, sexual exploitation is the main type of trafficking that we do have. So I've looked at the children. When we did the 2007 study, we recognized that commercial sex workers, the majority of whom are female, were the main ones that we were concerned about. In this study, we recognize that commercial sex workers are now more au fait about trafficking, and it is the young female masseuses, persons who go to apply for jobs, that we are now concerned about. We're equally concerned about men who have sex with men. We did some interviews, elite interviews, with 20 of them, and 16 of them said, or 80% said they had been trafficked. We weren't able to verify that, but we need to have further investigation. We also signal that social media, we give children laptops to schools and all of that. We need to recognize that there are risks those children have, because cybercrimes is one of the ways of luring people into trafficking. I'm signaling also that in forced labor, human trafficking for forced labor, we need to be concerned about our migrant workers. Many of them are looking at jobs overseas to be able to survive. We have a large informal sector, and we need to ensure that the conditions under which they work are not considered trafficking. Signaling also the problem of domestic servitude. We have between 50 and 100,000 household workers. Many of them are in the informal sector, they don't have any jobs, and the area that they work in is in the domestic sphere. Many of them have moved from rural to urban areas as children, and some became trafficked in that way. As they seek jobs in the Caribbean, through the Caribbean single market and economy, we have to be concerned, and I know work has started there. And I'm using this opportunity, Minister, to really ask us to ratify Convention 189, decent work for domestic workers.